Hello and welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews, and today I've actually got a review. It's a review of the new Vandenberg album, 2020 or 2020, and it's out on May the 29th, and I've just got off from listening to it, so I thought I'd come and do a quick review. Just a little bit of update, background on the band, sorry. So they formed in 1982. A lot of people probably know this stuff, but I've never listened to any Vandenberg stuff. I know that's probably unbelievable, but I never did back in the day. I don't know why. Perhaps I heard them and didn't like them at the time. And then they was quite successful. Just did a little bit of wiki, looking a bit into wiki about it. So hopefully it's right. Bought a couple of albums out, a few albums. They weren't doing too bad. Done some toured with some big bands. Then Adrian Vandenberg joined Whitesnake. I'm not sure if it was for the 1987 album Whitesnake. I think it was. And then he was with them for quite a while. So then they've taken a long time off, like years and years off the Vandenberg band. And they've got back together again for an album. Obviously with new members, but the vocalist is the guy called Ronnie Romero, and he sings for Rainbow at the moment. He's done a few other projects as well. The Ferrymen, I don't know if anyone's heard of them. So he's got quite a strong background as well, same as Adrian Vandenberg. So let's get down to the album then. Well, my thoughts on it. So there's 10 tracks. I don't know what they sounded like back then, so to compare it, this is so fresh to me because I'm not comparing it to anything they've done. But it is the sound of it is very late 70s, early 80s, which probably ties in from what they were like. It could literally fit right in, to that era of music. Late 70s wasn't my favourite era of music. I was more, because I was probably too young then, but in the 80s was my proper, mid 80s to the late 80s, really got into music a lot. That was my favourite era. But they've got a really old-fashioned sound, like classic rock sound. I suppose, if you want to sort of liken them to someone, you're probably talking old Whitesnake, really old Whitesnake, old Rainbow, that sort of sound, the classic rock sound. It's very guitar orientated album. Obviously it's Adrian Vandenberg's album. It's like a lot of power chords. Production's good, but it does sound like an album that was made right back then. So it's like it's meant to be that sort of sound, I think. It's very like chorus driven, the choruses do stand out, but they're not ultra catchy, if you know what I mean. Same with that late 70s, early 80s vibe, I suppose. There's some good grooves throughout the album, but it never really grabbed me, this album. It never really got me, and I thought, wow, that's a really strong album. It didn't stand out, and I don't think it's gonna. And if you're going to compare it to late 70s, early 80s stuff, that sort of stuff I'm talking about, the Whitesnake and Rainbow, that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather put on a Rainbow Rising like any day of the week, with Dio on it. But saying that, for me, the winner on this album is the vocalist, Ronnie Romero. He's a great vocalist. I really am impressed with him, and I have done when I've heard him in the Ferrymen as well. I think he's got a really strong voice, and I think this album, he really shines. And Adrian Vandenberg as such, I don't know, I've obviously heard his stuff in Whitesnake. I don't know if he was more of a rhythm guitarist, but there's nothing that stands out for me on this guitar wise either. And and considering that the band's named after him, I was expecting to hear some real, you know, good guitar work on here. And there's nothing that really, you know, hits me in the face thinking, wow, you know, that's amazing, as you usually do when an album's named after the person, you know. But, you know, that's just, I think this would appeal to people into their classic rock sort of late 70s stuff, early 80s. It definitely would appeal to those people. It's got that good sound, exactly like that sort of stuff. But it didn't grab me. There was a couple of songs, Let It Rain, that was quite good. It was a sort of ballady, sort of turned into a bit of an heavier one at the end. Really good vocals by Ronnie and Romero, by the way, on that one. Ride Like the Wind is another good one of my favourite, and it's not a cover of Ride Like the Wind either. And Ronnie Romero really shows off his vocals in here and all, really, like, you can really hear that, very similar to Dio in some aspects. Not a Dio copy at all, you know. I think you could tell when someone's trying to sound like Dio. I think it's just his natural voice. So like I said, he is the highlight of this album in my opinion. Really good vocalist. Yeah, so that's it. I was looking forward to this album. I heard quite a bit about it when it was going to be coming out, and I thought, as it's an 80s band, I would really, you know, like to hear it. Hopefully they can bring something good to the table, but it's not for me, I'm afraid. You know, it's above average, but that's about it. Well, thank you. I hope you like the review. Please tell me if you think I'm full of shit and it's a good album, or if you agree with me, that's fine. Just put it in the comments below. I'd like to hear what everyone thinks of the new Vandenberg album. I'm only going to score this 6 out of 10. So not great, but, you know, like I said, it will appeal to a lot of rock fans, this. And maybe if you liked Adrian Vandenberg back then and his guitar work, you'd probably like this as well, you know. So, all right, thanks, and see you soon. Bye.